Hi, I'm Britt,
And my name is Alissa.
and this is Skeletales.
And this is the podcast where we strive to answer the age-old question of, is my dead grandma watching me?
That's right. And we also do what? Share true tales of the strange, unusual, and paranormal. It's been so long.
How
I don't even
quickly we
remember our
forget.
intro.
I know. I was like, I don't know if I remember how to do this anymore. So yes, if you are a loyal listener, you've noticed there's been a void in your life lately because
say
we've been
the
gone.
least.
Yes.
It was not our intention to be gone this long, but by George, life has happened for Alissa and I, like a lot. I am in a new house now, a much less haunted house than my old house. I can feel the difference already.
Very disappointing.
And, at one point, I was juggling like 4 jobs, not including the podcast, and I just could not breathe with that and the move. And so I was like, I just fell off the grid. Honestly, is what I did.
Yeah. You can't do it all. There's a myth, and it is that we can do it all as moms, and I don't think we can. So unfortunately, I mean, that wasn't my issue. My issue was that I got cursed by something, somewhere, somehow, and so that's why I've been gone. There's been a curse.
Haunted
upon me.
object.
That's
perhaps.
what I was trying to figure out. Okay, so on Mitch's birthday, which was May 14th, I drove home from Costco, and sitting in front of our house was a little dog with like kind of creepy white eyes, but it was just sitting there chilling right next to Mitch's truck. Like it lived there, it owned the place. I was like, who are you? And I'm thinking, did somebody give Mitch a dog for his birthday or something? Mitch was at work. I was very confused. I went up to the dog and then it kind of backed away from me. Eventually, I kind of took a picture and saw that there was a dog tag. I zoomed in and there was a phone number on there. And so I texted, and this lady like shows up like within minutes, like, oh my God, my dog. Oh, like apparently their dog had gotten out. They were terrified because in my neighborhood, coyotes eat the dogs and everything. And all the neighbors are like, give up.
Don't even try to look.
Coyote ate it. I heard a dog yipping and screaming last night. Probably you little fluffy. Give up. And so like they were very panicked. And I was like, no big deal. All I did was go inside, get some water and some cat food and put it next to this dog, and then literally text the number. It was like 5 minutes. No big deal. So later that night,
you gave their dog cat food?
I don't have, I don't have, I mean, come on. It's all the same stuff, right? It's all horse. Anyway, later that night, I'm making dinner and there's a knock on my door. This lady from earlier shows up with a bottle of wine for me, like a nice fancy bottle of wine. I was like, oh my gosh, and a thank you card. I was like, that was so unnecessary, but yeah, thank you. You're welcome. No big deal at all. Like animals come to us for some reason in our house. Like Mitch is the animal whisperer. Maybe not. I don't know. We have had the stray cat that gave him sepsis. We get the neighbor cat that we stole from Dubai. I forget where that cat was from. Now we get this random dog sitting in front of our house when I get home on Mitch's birthday. Not a birthday present. So don't think much of it. I'm like, that's awesome. Actually, you know what I thought? I was like, dang, things are starting to look up, Alissa, is what I thought. I was like, that was freaking random. Get this fancy bottle of wine on Mitch's birthday. Like, look at that. But what followed was the beginning of just a series of unfortunate events. 2 days later, Mitch is out mountain biking in North Bend and hits a jump, goes over his handlebars, and breaks his collarbone. So I have to rush off to the hospital, get him. He's in rough shape. Come back. Okay, this is okay. It's a setback. That next morning, he's in the bathroom or somewhere and hears water coming from somewhere while he was in the downstairs bathroom, and come to find out that one of the pipes behind the wall in the boys' bathroom had burst or was leaking. There was a valve
Oh.
thing that broke. So now there's water all dripping in the walls. Mitch is broken on the couch. I have to spend the whole day running around like Mrs. Fix-It. And I actually fixed that fucking faucet, but it took me all day. But anyway.
Yourself?
Oh, yeah, I did. And then I like pulled all this stuff out of the room that was draining into, and I put a dehumidifier in there. Okay. Man, what a couple sucky days, right? That's
sure.
fine. Whatever. No big deal. So then I get a text from my brother, I think the same day as the pipe in the wall. If not, it was the very next day. And he's asking me, hey, have you ever had shingles? I'm like, oh, yeah, I have a couple times, my geriatric illness. And then he texts me a picture of him in the emergency room with shingles of like the eyeball and his forehead. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. Get that like herpes medicine, get yourself some Valtrex. So I was like, man, that's rough. Mitch just broke his collarbone. Now you have shingles. So the next day I'm talking to my mom and she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that Mitch broke his collarbone. You had a broken pipe in your wall. Adam has shingles. And then she goes on to tell me that my sister-in-law just fell off a skateboard and broke her arm the same day my brother texted me with shingles.
Jesus.
Like, what the heck is going on? Like, this is nutty. Like, everywhere I look, something is happening. And so I start thinking, I'm like, what is it? Did I buy a cursed object? Did I bring something into this house? Like, is there a curse upon my family? What did we do? I was joking that like maybe someone accidentally dug up a tomb trying to build a shed. And if that's the case, it was my brother Adam. And Adam, you need to go replace whatever the fuck you messed with over there. A Native American burial ground? I don't know.
If it's in New York, it very well could be.
Possibly, very possibly. So then I'm thinking, and I was like, oh, the freaking dog and that bottle of wine. That's the thing that came into my house.
Yes.
I'm like, and I was talking to a friend about it. I'm like, the only way to break this curse is to drink that bottle of wine, because we had planned on saving it, and we're like, no, let's get rid of it. Drank the bottle of wine. Something else terribly happened right after that. I don't remember what it was. It was like, ah, shit, that apparently didn't work. Oh, no, I know what it was. So then, like a couple days later, I wake up and let the cat into the garage to feed it, and there's like a leaf stuck to the bottom of my garage door, and I saw it and I was like, I don't know, that's kind of a weird looking leaf, but didn't think anything of it. It's just hanging there. And then I closed the garage door because the cat came in, and we both heard a squeak like, and I was like, oh my God, that wasn't a leaf. Turns out it was a bat. My worst enemy, my worst nightmare. Britt knows this. Rabies. Like, my name weirdly means rabies. Remember too, something about my name means rabies. It's like the god Alissa is the goddess of rabies. I don't know. So this is literally my worst nightmare. I do not want anything to do with a fucking bat in my garage that's now like laying on the ground. It wasn't dead. It's kind of, its wings were out. Then it pulls its wings back in.
Oh.
Silver-haired bat. So then we put a freaking box over the bat, because now the bat's been in the garage with the cat the whole night. And we don't know if the bat has bit the cat or the cat has bit the bat. The cat doesn't have teeth, so it would be hard for it to bite the bat. But could it still get rabies that way? It's a real head scratcher.
Dr. Seuss.
Yeah. Okay. So then I'm calling bat people, and then I've got to go put the bat next to a tree, and the bat climbed up a tree, and now it's just dead in my tree. But did it die from rabies, or did it die from getting crushed by a garage door? Nobody knows. And so then somebody pooped in the pool twice, and I think maybe, I don't know. It's just ongoing. It keeps going. So the
wine curse just keeps going.
And that, my friends, is why I've not been recording Skeletales for the past month.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Drama.
So
can we just say, maybe the curses that we weren't recording, and it's like the universe is like, you have to keep recording or these curses will continue. You're like invested for life now.
You're onto something. They're like, nope, you got to keep it out.
Things are going to turn around. Things are going to turn around for Alissa now that we're recording.
Heck yeah. So this week we're going to be doing stories about curses, right?
It only fits. It's only appropriate.
Only appropriate. I just told you my own little personal curse story. So do you want to tell the next story, Britt?
Sure. I decided to go with some famous curses. And I'm bringing today to the table cursed tombs from the past. Now, I'm sure the first cursed tomb you're thinking of is the most popular, the most famous. They made movies about it, The Mummy being one of them. It's the curse of the pharaoh Tutankhamun.
Yes.
Have you heard of the Tutankhamun curse?
I mean, that's King Tut, right? Everyone who goes in there,
King
something
Tut.
horrible
Yes.
happens.
Yes.
Yeah, classic.
So it all begins in the year 1922 in Thebes, Egypt. Now, I apologize ahead of time because I have some really difficult words that I'm going to mispronounce all episode. So just apologizing now. Just know I'm wrong. It's probably pronounced differently. Okay. An esteemed archaeologist, Howard Carter, alongside his financial backer, Lord Carnarvon, holds a flickering match up to the darkness. They're underneath the Egyptian sand at the mouth of the tomb of the boy pharaoh Tutankhamun. Hot air trapped for thousands of years escapes the ancient doorway. Here's a quote from Howard Carter's journal. As my eyes grew accustomed to the light, details of the room within emerged slowly from the mist. Strange animals, statues, and gold. Everywhere the glint of gold. For the moment, an eternity it must have seemed to the other standing by. I was struck dumb with amazement when Lord what did I say his name was? Carnarvon. Unable to stand the suspense any longer, inquired anxiously, "Can you see anything?" It was all I could do to get out the words, "Yes, wonderful things." After years and years of searching, the pair had found the final resting place of the famous child king, uncovering the most well-preserved tomb in Egypt's Valley of the Kings. Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon became instant celebrities, but all was not well for long. As legend has it, there's an ancient curse associated with the mummies and tombs of the Egyptian pharaohs. Disturbing these embalmed remains has been said to bring bad luck, illness, and death. Shortly after unearthing King Tut's tomb, Carnarvon was found dead. A mosquito bite on his face had become infected, leading to deadly blood poisoning. And he would not be the only death, illness, or unlucky occurrence associated with this expedition. Carnarvon's half-brother also died from blood poisoning. Sir Archibald Douglas Reed died from a mysterious illness. George J. Gould died from a fever following his visit to Egypt, along with many, many others. Objects from the tomb were given as a gift to Carter's friend, Sir Bruce Ingham, whose house burned down not long after. After being rebuilt, the house then flooded. The result of a deadly ancient curse or circumstantial coincidence? That is for you to decide. So after reading about this a little bit more, there was somebody who said that as Carter's team made their way through the tomb, they actually encountered a statue of the god of the dead, Anubis.
Is that the one with like the coyote head or?
I think it's, like a black jackal.
Yeah.
And he was standing guard over the boy king's burial chamber. At the statue's feet was a small brick inscribed with a warning. That's it? Just a warning? It doesn't say what the warning is. Okay. It's inscribed with a warning that all should truly die. It was likely to ward off grave robbers, but who's to say it wasn't true? Skeptics will say that it was not cursed because Carter, who was the first one to open it and have that of tomb air in his face, ended up living well into his 60s and dying of cancer, not a mysterious illness. And then there was Sergeant Richard Adamson, who was a member of Carter's team, who ended up guarding this burial chamber round the clock for 7 years and was the closest to Tutankhamun's remains. He ended up living for another 60 years and didn't even die until the year 1982. So it makes you wonder why some of the people ended up cursed and others not. Perhaps their heart was in the wrong place. I don't know.
Possibly. It also sounds like a vaccine issue, maybe. Like they're getting bit by mosquitoes and maybe they're getting like some malaria.
A lot of blood poisoning.
The other ones are just like drinking gin and tonic. So they got that quinine coursing through their blood or something. It might.
I like to believe in an Egyptian curse, though, because, you know, it's still very mysterious to us how ancient Egypt life was. Did you find the warning?
I did. Howard Carter finds a medallion with the inscription, "Death will come swiftly to those who disturb the tomb of the king."
Ooh, so good.
Yeah. Dang. I mean, that's pretty swift to get a mosquito bite right on your face and have that kill you. That's
gnarly. That's a gnarly way to go.
I'd be paranoid for sure. If I had anything to do with any of that, and that's what, like, it probably took a few weeks for them to translate that. I'm not sure what their hieroglyphics training was.
Yeah, they're come across, they're like, ooh, cool, a thing. And then they get it transcribed. Damn it.
Yeah.
We already went in. We disturbed. I should say I got my information from artsandculture.com is where I got my information from. And that's the story of the cursed tomb of Tutankhamun.
I love it. I always forget about all those details, but also like, I don't think I'd be brave enough to take that like first whiff of old dead dude air coming out of a tomb. Like, that doesn't sound fresh. Like there's something about that would put me off. That would be my curse, like if you made me go do that. But all that gold and everything. Mm-hmm. And then I've never really thought about it. It's like they knew where these Valley of the Kings were. Like, did the Egyptians know this? And then all these like foreigners were like, let's go dig them up. And they're like, what the fuck?
It was pretty gnarly there for a while because they were disturbing a lot of these tombs, which had been hidden for a very long time. And then a lot of these British explorers were removing the mummies, removing the gold, selling it all over the world, taking it back to England. And it really did upset a lot of Egyptians. I mean, probably still is upsetting them.
Yeah, I mean, I think I still see things about items being returned to Egypt.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm wondering is, were these tombs and the locations of these tombs or even the whole valley lost to time? Or is it something that the Egyptians were like, oh yeah, that's where we bury our pharaohs? And then the British were like, oh, let me take a closer look.
I'm not totally sure. I do remember seeing, because I went to the Houston Nature and Science exhibit for King Tut, and they had these photos taken around that time where they have mummies that they had removed from tombs and just leaning against the wall for sale. Like, they're just like, mummies, get your mummies here.
Oh, yeah. And remember, wasn't there something that they would like eat them too? Like, they would eat bits of the mummy. I think that was a thing.
Maybe that's why they're really dying.
It's really gross. Yeah, exactly. Like, just a nibble. And then, like, yeah, no mystery there.
They clearly didn't live forever. That's their dead body. Anyways.
Yeah. Something exciting. At least one late Ramesside pharaoh's tomb, Ramses the Eighth, is still undiscovered. And it may many believe it may be found within the valley. So
awesome. So there's still opportunity for more curses to come forth.
I have not lost the opportunity to be cursed by a pharaoh. Maybe that happened. Maybe it is actually in Issaquah, Washington. No one saw that coming, and I dug up a dry stream bed. Ramses the Eighth.
The Ramses the Eighth is there. That would be truly a miracle.
Man. That was super interesting. I love it. Way to bring the history. I'm not bringing any of that. I got a gross one for you.
Oh, I'm ready.
I'm just gonna get this one out of the way. I'll just tell you, not all of mine are as gross as this one. This one's pretty gross. Okay. So this one comes from Go Commando, and they say, the obvious sign of being cursed is having a health problem that even doctors cannot figure out what is wrong with the body. 2 people in my life have been cursed. First, it was my brother. He was cursed when he was 8 years old. My parents owned an apartment back then, and they evicted a man who is a faith healer because he could not pay his rent. On the last day of his stay in the area, while picking up his things, he walked past my brothers who were playing outside. My oldest brother suddenly collapsed. Eyes are rolling, and he's just shaking on the ground. My younger brother called my parents and rushed to the hospital. For a whole year, none of the doctors anywhere could figure out what was wrong with my brother. All his stats were good. His body was doing good according to the charts. But if you see my brother, his nails are black. His stomach is huge, similar to a pregnant woman. He also could not poop and pee normally, so they had to do something about it, which I already forgot what that was, but he can no longer walk. One of our relatives gave us the idea that what was happening to my brother could be a curse, and that if we could just go talk to the old tenant, that maybe he could reverse it. My parents were skeptical about the whole curse thing, but apologized to the man anyway, saying that they did what they did because our apartment is the only source of income that we have. Aside from this, since he is a faith healer, my parents also brought my brother to him. It was real creepy when he smiled after seeing how bad the situation with my brother was. I felt like he was proud of his artwork. He did a ritual on my brother, but the main event that happened was when he touched my brother's head and whispered something. Remember, he could not walk and pee for months. Well, he stood up on his own and asked my brother to come with him because he has to pee. My brother was peeing for hours, and as it happened, his stomach began to shrink. My brother became normal right away and has had a normal life ever since. The other curse I made mention of was from my dentist. The only detail that I know is that her parents-in-law were mad at her because she is the legal heir to the estate of their dead son. They don't practice witchcraft in my country, but you can pay someone and ask them to curse whoever you have a grudge against. Just like my brother, she got ill, but it could not be explained by doctors. All they found was that there were insects and sand inside her brain and the back portion of the brain near the spinal cord. My dentist's brothers are doctors, so they went to the U.S. for treatment, but even the doctors there couldn't explain what was wrong with her. Unfortunately, my dentist died from that. No one could cure her.
Oh, I can just envision that creepy, satisfied, that's
smile.
Right. Ugh.
Yeah. There's a Stephen King short story, and I think it's called Thinner. And I think it is about a curse by this Romani woman. And the whole story is so disturbing and how desperate he becomes to be rid of this curse and the desperation that you begin to feel. And when someone has you by their puppet strings, apparently there's also a red string involved in a lot of curses. I might have to try to get a red thread because there's a lot of that if you want to reverse it or break it.
Yes, I've read this before with the when I was researching Mal de Ojo, the evil eye.
Yes.
That is a way to protect yourself, is the red string around your wrist. I've read it.
I genuinely put on my evil eye necklace a few times in the past couple of weeks. I always feel like I'm choking, so I don't like to wear necklaces to bed. So that's when I take it off. But maybe I'll try the little wrist around
there you go. Get some red string. Yeah. Evil eye. Maybe get a ring. Evil eye ring. Something.
Just all the eyes. I have a shirt that's like covered in eyeballs.
Perfect.
I might just start wearing that all the time.
Ooh, good story.
Sorry, I swear the rest are not that gross. Do you have another story?
Yes. So I am keeping with my theme, cursed tombs. So I've got another one here for you. This next story is about King Casimir of Poland, the king of Poland.
Oh.
We are going back into time. I got my information from catchpenny.org. Perhaps the most notorious case of a deadly but unwitting mummy's curse occurred not in Egypt, but in Poland. Casimir IV was king of Poland from 1447 to 1492. When he died, he left a dynasty renowned among the courts of Europe. The remains of King Casimir IV and his wife Elizabeth were interred in a tomb situated in the chapel of, here's another one, Wawel Castle in Krakow, Poland. With the consent of Pope John Paul II, a team of scientists was given permission to open the tomb and examine the remains, with restoration as the ultimate objective. Casimir's tomb was opened on Friday, the 13th of April, 1973. 12 researchers were present. Inside the tomb, they found a wooden coffin that was heavily rotted. It contained what was left of the king's decayed corpse. Little did anyone know that the real, quote-unquote, mummy's curse was then initiated. Within a few days, 4 of the 12 had died. Not long after, 6 more of the researchers died, and then there were only 2 survivors left. Dr. Boleslaw Smyk, S-M-Y-K. How would you pronounce that?
Smyk? I don't know.
I think of Peter Pan. Shmee. Dr. Boleslaw Smyk, a microbiologist, and Dr. Edward. We'll just say Dr. Edward. Smyk was to suffer problems with his equilibrium for the next 5 years. Speculations and rumors began spreading widely about the deadly cursed tomb. In the course of his microbiological examinations, though, Dr. Smyk, the one who had weird equilibrium issues, ended up finding traces of fungi on the royal insignia taken from the tomb. It turns out the rampant death that followed the tomb's opening wasn't indeed a curse at all, but deadly spores inhaled by the unsuspecting researchers. Now, unless the spores were part of the curse...
Is it like anthrax? Is that what anthrax is?
I haven't pulled up the name of the deadly spores here. Okay. He identified 3 deadly species, or I should say toxic: Aspergillus flavus, Penicillium rubrum, and Penicillium rugulosum. They produce aflatoxins. I don't know any of that, but apparently it's toxic. So if you inhale it, you die. Of the 12 that entered, 10 died, and 1 ended up with, for the next 5 years, these crazy equilibrium issues. Only one of the doctors ended up unscathed. I guess maybe he was like immune or something. So cursed. Potentially, the spores were cursed, and that is what, caused the deaths.
That's exactly what I'd expect of tomb air, like tomb breath.
Yes.
That's why I wouldn't want to be the first one up there, like, giving a nice, huge inhale.
There was another tomb that was opened in the early 2006, I want to say, had the same exact toxic spores. All researchers survived, though, because they were all wearing masks when they
Oh, I thought you were
entered
gonna
the
say mustaches.
old ancient tomb. They all decided to wear masks and not a single one of them died. So
That might have been that one random guy probably had like tuberculosis or some weird, you know, how they had like, he probably just had something covered in his face for some horrible other like middle-agey
yeah,
reason.
maybe
like,
he's like, I'm just going to take
his
my
jaw fell
hanky.
off.
Take
Yeah,
my hanky.
exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that Poland had kings and queens and cursed tombs.
Yeah. Learning things every day.
Love it.
What do you have for us?
Okay, so my next story comes from Jason, and they say, can a painting be cursed? I was riding my bike to work last Monday, and I saw a woman putting some things on the roadside in front of a house, so I couldn't resist stopping to see what was in the boxes. Not much was in the first box, just some useless household items, old kitchen utensils, a few candles, and some dried flowers with all the petals gone. But in the second box, there was only this small painting of a letter E. It's not a great painting, but it immediately caught my eye and I had to grab it. I put it in my backpack and started riding again, and it wasn't more than a half a block away that my tire blew out, causing me to wreck. Now, that doesn't strike me as weird. It happens to lots of people every day, and that's what I thought at first. But then, because of the wreck and the flat tire caused me to be almost an hour late for work, I got fired from my job. I tried to call work and explain that I was going to be late, but my phone was completely destroyed in the wreck. I got home that night when I took off my backpack and tossed it on my recliner. And when I did, it accidentally got caught on the lamp, causing it to fall and break. So I went to clean up the glass and cut my finger really bad. After I got the bleeding to stop, I went to bed, but kept having these really vivid nightmares and would wake up and feel like I wasn't alone in my room, like my backpack was watching me somehow. Tuesday, when I woke up, I went to grab my backpack and remembered the painting was in there. So I took it out and I set it on the table. So I thought about it after I got home that the painting was now on the floor next to the, oh shit, hon. This is not nary a period in this entire thing.
Sounds like it.
Tuesday, when I woke up, I went to grab my backpack and remembered the painting was in there. So I took it and set it on the table. So I thought. But after I got home, the painting was now on the floor next to the table. I'm almost certain I put the painting on the table, but it's not where I found it. When I got home, I decided to hang the painting on the wall next to my bed, but I now feel uncomfortable being around the painting. I feel as if it's watching me, and every night since the painting has been in my house, I've had terrible nightmares. And since I've had the painting, I felt tired and weak. My friends said they want me to get rid of the painting, but I just can't bring myself to throw it away. It can't be the painting's fault, right?
It's literally a painting with the letter E on it.
His name's Jason.
Why?
There's not even an E in there.
Jason with the silent E at the end.
Jason, if you're listening, you should send that painting to a little boy named Ellis.
No.
Capital E. No. But then he's compelled to keep it. That's like,
he cannot throw it out.
yeah,
Ooh.
that definitely sounds like a cursed object to me. I think it's also a comedy of errors is what comes to mind. That's kind of what, like the curse, like my experience, I call it a curse, but it is more like, what next, you know, like,
yeah.
This is crazy. This is how does this sort of shit keep happening? So I sort of find an entertainment in the ridiculous of it all.
Like an ugly painting of an E. I can't get over it. Why?
Maybe the E needs to belong to someone with an E in their name. The painting's like,
yes.
Nah, not you.
Find an Evelyn. Find a Eric, anybody.
And he can't even be around it, but he can't throw it away. Yeah, like at least give it to someone with an E name. Like pass it off. You know, Ernie. We can. Yeah,
Ernie.
We've come up with a lot of E names just now. Ellen.
Jason.
I know a couple Ellens.
Yeah. Find a friend.
Yeah,
with an E.
That's thanks
Jason,
for calling in,
do
Jason.
It. Yes. Solved.
Do you have another story?
All right, I'm going to finish off my last story with a final cursed tomb. What's so exciting about the tomb of Qin Shi Huang is that it's never been opened. But if his burial records, is any indicator, there are enough traps inside to make an effective enough curse as is. Not to mention that this emperor put the curse on the place himself. It took 700,000 workers 36 years to build the tomb. Supposedly, many of these workers were buried alive inside the tomb to keep what's inside a secret. And it's worked. No one knows exactly what's in there. So I'm sure you've heard of a thing called the Terracotta Army.
Yes.
The Terracotta Army is in place guarding this tomb in China. Apparently, though, a recent cosmic ray surface scan has been done of the grave to see what's inside. But I searched to see what they found, and there's nothing that I could find I couldn't find the scans. I don't know what's in there.
Because all the scanners die.
All it says is that with the scans, no curses showed up. Wilder. It says you'll have to.
What kind of scientist wrote this paper?
I guess I should say. I did get this information from
like the curse scanner.
Where the fuck did
I don't think that's how it works. Can they throw some cosmic rays my way?
Grunge.com. So real scientific journal here. Okay, so supposedly people have said that this terracotta army is also cursed, and that by unearthing the army, a curse was set in place. According to an interview on a Swiss channel with one of the men who accidentally discovered the emperor's army, there was a widespread belief that these statues were never meant to be seen by other men, and that it would bring great misfortune to the surrounding village, all because it was a major disruption of the dead emperor's feng shui. While the Chinese government continues to protect the actual tomb of Qin Shi Huang, it will remain a mystery what sort of protection the emperor took with him to the grave. So we know that it is booby-trapped like crazy, and that it took 36 years to build this tomb and 700,000 workers. So we're talking like you have to be the ultimate Indiana Jones to get to this emperor's tomb.
Are we talking about curses or booby traps? Because I feel like the curse is like that microscopic fungus or the, I don't think your cosmic rays can see a curse, Grunge magazine.
So the emperor himself booby trapped it, but then he also set a curse upon anybody who attempts to get in the tomb. So the curse is set. It hasn't been released yet. It's cursed,
and
but we don't know.
Not detect it.
Exactly. We don't know the extent of the curse. Like, will it destroy the world? Perhaps. We just don't know.
I can't remember if we talked about it on the podcast before, but the town that is right adjacent to those terracotta warriors did get kind of destroyed by tourism. Like they lost, like it used to be like an old pastoral little village, and then it's like it got wiped out and put up like hotels and stuff or something like that.
Yeah, because it was like just a farmland. Like a farmer discovered the army, and now it is just, pretty much destroyed due to tourism.
Well, let's go find out. Let's go unearth the curse. So I've now learned at least 2 different places we could go get ourselves a real old-fashioned tomb curse if we want. A nice
Ramses
lungful of tomb breath. We want.
I'm going to get my leather satchel fanny pack and my whip, put on a cool hat, probably bring a kerchief to wrap around my face just in case.
That's not a bad idea. N97 or whatever those masks are, which I never thought I'd forget. 92. Bottles. We could bottle the tomb air.
Yes.
And sell it on the Etsy store.
Yes. Curses. Get your curses here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let
Big
it out
plans.
on your least favorite neighbor's step. Oof. That'd be some dark shit. All right, I'm going to wrap this up with a couple of shorter little curse stories. This first one is from Watermelon Destroyer, and they say, I'm always wearing the same necklace because I can't take it off. Every time I did, without fail, someone died within a week. When I started to notice this, I decided to stop wearing it altogether. My life went downhill and I almost died myself, so I put it back on. That was about 9 years ago. Earlier this year, my cousin announced her pregnancy. One morning when I woke up, I noticed the necklace had fallen off my neck with a chain link bent. I quickly fixed it and put it back on. But a few days later, my dad called me and told me that my cousin had lost her baby. Oh, that wasn't the cute little one that I thought. I forgot it ended on dead baby. I got a different one.
I have to know what kind of necklace it is. Is it
Right?
like a cheap Lisa Frank? Something you get at the mall?
Like Claire's.
Yeah. Is it? What if it's this huge, gaudy, like costume jewelry necklace?
Right.
Like,
What if it's a pentagram? Maybe it's a right? I mean,
I know.
Yeah.
I need this detail. It will really bring this story together.
I much prefer it to be like some real gaudy choice that she made in like second grade. And now she cannot take it off forever.
She's stuck with it forever.
That also gives me those that the girl with the green ribbon around her neck vibes. Like she can never take it off.
Yes.
But instead of her head falling off, someone else's head falls off.
They die.
They die. Okay. And this is my last story. This one comes from Undead Gorgeous. And they say, my mom had a red Camaro that was literally cursed. Someone crossed 3 lanes of traffic and hit her while she was driving. She fixes it. Someone else driving the wrong way down a one-way street hits her dead on. She gets it fixed again. Her sister borrows it, parks it outside a 7-Eleven, and a garbage truck backs into it, smashing the whole back end. She gets it fixed again. Mind you, this is the 3rd time in 6 months. Driving it home from the shop, someone runs a red light and smashes into the side of it.
Oh my
She
God.
gives up and sells it to a friend. The friend takes it into a car wash, and the car wash malfunctions, and the whole front end gets crushed, partially impaled by a piece of machinery. The friend wins a lawsuit, scraps the car, ending the cycle.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's so good.
I mean, that sounds pretty cursed.
That's pretty damn cursed. I was thinking a span of years, but all of this happening within 6 months.
6
That's
months.
crazy. That's crazy.
Cursed cars, cursed cursed tombs, cursed necklaces, just cursed people.
Paintings. Yes.
So many cursed. Hey, if you at home have a story about being cursed or a cursed object or a friend that was cursed or possibly cursing someone yourself, please let us know. You can write those on into the Skeletales hot box at skeletalespodcast@gmail.com. You can also call the hotline.
Our hotline is 302-689-DEAD, 302-689-3323. I also wanted to dedicate this episode and cheers to a couple of friends of ours who went over to the Etsy merch shop and bought us some drinks. Our beverages, we'll cheers together. Cedar and Jennifer both bought us drinks for tonight's episodes. So thank you so much. If you would like to support the show and also get Alissa and I a drink as we record, you can do that over at skeletalespodcast.etsy.com. We also have some fun merch and haunted shit over there as well.
Yeah, you should also go hit us up over on Instagram, Facebook, on Skeletales Community. We're over on YouTube. Go subscribe there. And maybe TikTok. Go see TikTok. Maybe we posted
Sure, we
something
got some
we don't
old stuff
remember
over
anymore.
there.
Yeah, sure.
That's
Yeah, go
fun.
check it out.
Why not?
Britt, are we forgetting anything?
One last thing. Alissa.
Yes.
Haunt y'all later.
Haunt you later.
Good night.